Hello, everybody. Welcome to Everything in Moderation, episode 23. I have Eric and Sean here today. Luke is up to his neck in tests, so good luck to him. Prayers up. What are we discussing today, gentlemen?
The United States power grid.
Oh my God. It's not something that you hear every day, but I guess you could say it had a major failure in the past couple weeks.
Yeah, major malfunction.
Texas.
Who wants to get us started?
I can give a little introduction.
Sure.
What do you got?
So I was reading about the power grid in the United States, and it's basically divided into three parts. You have everything east of the Mississippi, everything west of the Mississippi, and then Texas. Texas is its own separate grid. Meanwhile, we have two other grids that are half the country. I don't understand why. I don't know. I don't get it.
Because Texas is built differently.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll leave that up just so people can look at it.
The Quebec.
Yeah.
So Texas wants their own power grid to be like not federalized, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
Yes, it's a very privatized grid. But basically, so are all of them.
And why did it fail when the storm came?
Because the Texas grid has, I believe, well, I know there's a very big difference between what their capacity is in the winter versus the summer. In the summer, I think it said their peak thing was like 86,000 megawatts. And in the summer, it's only, or in the winter, it's only like 65, 67. So you're losing like 25% of your operating capacity because they do a lot of the maintenance during the winter when demand is not supposed to be nearly as high. And the problem with this system is it was based on a time, the 1950s and 60s, when this was all built. This was all based on a time where weather was a lot more predictable with global warming and seasons becoming more interchangeable. There's no more like distinct seasons as such anymore. As that like slowly melded together, you can't really operate on the same way that the 1950s and 60s were. And since this grid was built in the 1950s and 60s and has never been updated, we are now at the end of the life expectancy of this entire system. And by the way, that's for like the main parts of it. Like forget the actual power stations or the what are they called, the transformers and all that. That stuff's even less of a life expectancy. Like they ran out, and we are at like the very, 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 very far reaches of the longest life expectancies. Like we're past what they're supposed to be, and we're just operating on borrowed time right now.
Okay, that's interesting. So I have a quick question then. So a lot of like the lefties I see online are saying like, oh, it's just like because it's privatized, they're trying to save as much money as possible. Is that what they mean when they say like they're trying to save as much money as possible? They're like not updating it.
Well, I was reading about that, and well, since they are privatized and they're not government, not that I'm saying the government would do this because they waste their money on a lot of other things, but for the sake of argument, we'll leave that out. Because they're privatized, and obviously private companies care about profits, they're not going to update something until it fails.
Yep.
So they have no incentive to update any of these systems because it would cut into their profits.
So it's just normal capitalist behavior. It's nothing unique to power grids.
A little bit, yeah.
So do you think that like it's just because there's like no competition in a way? It's just like they don't have an incentive to make like a better service or improve upon their systems already.
I think it's one of those things where it's like the internet. It takes, I forget what the term is, but it takes so much to like start up like an ISP. Like you need to like invest so much money
Mhm.
and so much time that no one wants to do it. So like monopolies are kind of like allowed. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean yeah, pretty much. I was like because I know that Texas, it's the ERCOT, what's it called? DOT. Yeah, Electric Reliability Council of Texas. So like that's like who they were.
I love that that's their name.
That's what they were blaming. It was their fault. And is it ERCOT? Hold on. It's an American organization that operates Texas's electrical grid. It doesn't say. I'm trying to see if it's like. You said that it was private, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a privatized industry.
It's the first independent system operator in the United States. Okay. I guess that's what that means. All right. So, Sean, you said that like a lot of them are, well, the power grid in general is just at the end of its life
Yes.
expectancy.
So basically, American infrastructure as a whole, and like the electrical grid a bit in particular, it was kind of built during like the 50s and 60s, and it really has never been updated because it wasn't a real problem until the last like decade. And that's when we're starting to see like everyone was like, oh no, it's okay, they're all still working, everything's fine, like nothing's broken. And now they're like, oh crap, we like thought this would just keep lasting, even though they told us it definitely wouldn't last this long. And now people are like starting to realize, oh shit, like this isn't going to work, we got to fix this. But nobody wants to spend the money to fix it because it'll cost them too much money to fix it, and they'll lose a bunch of money in profit.
That is dangerously close to the situation we're having with climate change.
How so?
Well,
Like
climate change
time,
is causing this.
what?
Climate change is a big factor in what's causing all
Well,
of
yeah,
this.
but what I'm saying is like we're kind of in the boat where it's like, oh, like global warming. Yeah, they're telling us this is a problem, but like we're not really seeing the real consequences of like of the example of like the power grid failing. Like we're not really seeing that yet. But when we get there, it's
Yeah.
gonna be like, oh shit, what do we do? I don't know. It's a little late for this now.
Yeah, like the electrical grid in the United States is so poor at this point that I believe it's 9. If you take out 9 substations of the around 180-ish that exist around the United States, if you were to shut 9 of them down at like the same time, you would black the United States out for 18 months. Like the entire United States would go dark for 18 months. And it's estimated that about 90% of the population would die during those 18 months.
Well, I really hope that most of America went to Boy Scouts in that case, because if they didn't, then it's gonna be pretty fucking bad. But okay. All right.
Now,
That would be a great time for a communist revolution if I've ever seen one.
I don't know.
As dark as that whole thing is, I was like reading obviously like about all this stuff. And then I was like, you know what? Let me look up what Joe Biden has to say about this. Like let's see if he said anything about this. And for once I can say Joe Biden actually seems to have a decent head on his shoulders. So we all know about how the big what the hell's the word, stimulus package just got passed and it's going to his desk. So now that that's passed, he's already had 2 or 3 meetings about like the power grid and infrastructure in general. And he wants to begin movement on this immediately. I think this was fired up because of the whole Texas thing, but at least he's doing something. So he wants his next like $1 trillion bill to be an infrastructure bill across the United States. And people were saying that it was going to be like the modern day equivalent of Roosevelt when he did all his stuff in the 1930s to improve like infrastructure. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that whole 1930s revolution infrastructure thing from Roosevelt was when the national highways were built. So this is supposed to be like on par with that, fixing up everything, or
impressive,
beginning to.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But at least we're finally like hearing something about it. Both
Yeah.
sides, like both sides of the aisle, have been complaining about this for years and promising things. And like now we had our first real oh shit moment, and Joe Biden allegedly is going to do something about it. And I would actually give him very major props if he manages to pull this off.
I was watching a video before this just to kind of inform myself of the situation. And like I was watching this video, but immediately I just got consumed in the comments and everyone was just like, oh, the world's gonna explode. Like it's everyone's gonna die. Because like I think it went off of what you said, Sean, whereas like the substations fail, like without 18 months of power. It'd be like, a lot of people don't know how to like survive and just bare minimum conditions. We've kind of lost that in a way.
I probably couldn't survive.
Yeah. That's why we have to go on this road trip in the summer and fucking live off the land, baby. Yo, if we do that, we should just film a vlog and just post it here.
That would be way more entertaining than any of our political podcasts.
It'll be like, no, like with them it'll be like, oh, yo, you could easily call that fireside chats.
That's not bad. We could do it like in the car while we're like driving around. All right, what are we talking about today?
Welcome to episode 636. Speaking of Joe Biden, I've been seeing that he hasn't held a formal press conference yet, and it's like I think he's the first president in like the first 10 weeks he hasn't had a formal press conference yet.
Really?
See, that's interesting for a couple of reasons. First, it's like, all right, like what are they hiding? Like, is Joe Biden like still like is his brain like in La La Land or something?
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, it's like maybe we're moving away from like our president being a reality TV star.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I'm conflicted.
But like in general, most presidents will have some sort of press conference, but instead you have the was it the secretary or whatever? Yeah. She's doing all the questions and stuff. I don't really know. Like, I mean, I guess I don't really care. Like, if he's doing his work, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't know. Like, I think it would be nice because, like, I thought that when he was inaugurated, he had a decent little speech, and I think that during this time, like, it would definitely be helpful to hear from someone. But maybe it's strategic, and he's just trying to wait until like the fires died down and like the sense of people still being mad about the election, which I feel like it is to some degree. I mean, I've been trying to stay off social media more, so maybe that's why. But less and less people I see are complaining about it outwardly. It's fraud, voter fraud.
Yeah, I feel like I don't want to say it. If I'm gonna say it, fuck it, I'll say it. I feel like Trump is just kind of like cancer for politics. Like it makes people on both sides just raise the tension levels so high. And I'm so over it. I feel the same way as you. I think the tensions are definitely dropping.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I was having a conversation with someone, and like I was talking about like the I've been doing deep dives into like World War I, after World War I history. I'm a nerd. It's okay. But I was talking about like the Weimar Republic, which is what Germany became after World War I, and it's just an interesting time because you see like a country get railed by like any peace treaty, any accord like afterwards. And then that's what actually set the stage for like, Hitler to take his power. But I was talking about it and like the person I was talking to was like, oh, like this is kind of like, it's kind of like how Trump took power. And I'm like, stop. I don't want to talk about Trump anymore. I'm done.
That's how I feel.
I don't want to hear his name anymore. I don't want to. Just move on, please.
It's done. It's over.
I've never had so like social media when like in the last couple months that he was president was just the worst place to be. Like if you wanted to get angry and you want to like let's say like I don't know, fucking man. I honestly think that if I had a if I was still boxing, I would have went on political Twitter and shit and just looked at stuff before, and then I'm just imagining my opponent was someone, one of the commenters. Oh my god.
I think something you said the other day in our group chat was kind of like profound, where you said like if you're seeing something about like a post on social media about politics, you're reading like a comment on someone's comment of a headline, and it's like you're not really getting anything out of it. It's just like a waste of time.
Social
trying to
media is so filtered. It's so filtered information. Like you get it. It's, I'm not gonna lie. I actually saw someone. I think it was last year. They used Twitter as like a primary source in one of their papers, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck? in some cases, like I guess if you get it from like a person that's like a doctor or some shit.
What?
Yeah, I know, but like they actually
What?
in the
Twitter is not a primary source. Was this child educated ever? Like, did he just like appear in your class? Was this the first time you'd ever seen him?
Dude, imagine like a teacher's, instead of saying like, oh, Wikipedia, you can't cite Wikipedia. It's like, you can't cite Twitter and Facebook. Like, is this the world we're going to?
Bro, I literally, like, we were doing like peer editing, right? And I'm a big peer editor. I love reading people's papers and just raping them. I'm not kidding. Like, I am so tough on it, but that's what makes the person's paper better. Like, it's better to be tough on it than like do like a couple edits and like, oh, like you missed a comma here. No. I'll literally write in like red pen, what does this mean? Like I'm not like a dick about it, but like I ask questions. I'm very forward. And then
I feel like I'd hate to have you as my peer editor, but I'd also love to have you as my peer editor.
bro,
I would hate to love you.
yeah.
Or I would love to hate you. That's what it would be.
Bro, it was funny because like one time Mel was doing a project last semester for one of her classes, and I'm like, hey, let me read it. And I'm like, I'll make some edits to it. And I abused the paper. And she's like, I'm never asking you to do it. I'm like, wow, it's a win-win. I don't have to look at your papers anymore, and you get a good grade.
You're a fucking genius.
Bro, Eric, it was actually funny because when I was back in high school, I know I love how we're just getting into stories here, but it all correlates somehow. But so I had
It's like when you're on YouTube at night.
Yeah. I had a Mark from Corpus Christi in my class, and it was English class, and our English teacher was just absolutely like such an anal like reviewer of papers. This man did some crazy shit like I'm sure that if he did it now, or like he did it in public school or something, someone would complain about it. But he would literally take someone's paper and he'd put it on a projector, and then he would just tell everyone to make fun of it. And
Bruh.
literally, like you have to be a special kind of person to just sit there and just start like laughing along with it. But like some person was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like what? And so we had to do peer editing, and Mark was sitting next to me. So like obviously we switched papers, and I got out my red pen, and I'm like, every single line there was something I had to say. And I'm like, I get mine back, and he wrote like maybe 6 things throughout my paper. It was a 3-page paper.
Yeah.
And I give it back to him. He says, holy shit. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I was just really hard on it. I'm like, I graded it like how our teacher would do it. And then he's like, I'm going to have to rewrite this whole fucking paper by the looks of it. And then we get to the grading day, and he's calling everyone's name. I get mine. I get a 92. Solid. 90 and above for that teacher is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then we get to the end, and now like I'm kind of worried because like Mark hasn't been called yet. And by the way that I edited everything, like our teacher was really good in the sense that like he could pick up like what your like grammar style was and like how you would like you use certain words. He just like recognized it. So I was kind of afraid that like Mark was gonna get like flagged for like plagiarism or some shit. And then, but instead our teacher goes like, he takes his glasses off and he's like, never in my years of teaching here at high school, never have I given out 100 on a paper. but Mark has done it. And then he gives Mark the paper. I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro. I'm like,
that's my 100.
I literally wrote that paper.
Give me some of those points. We both get a 95.
I know, right? The worker owns the means of production.
Yes, Tokyo communist shit.
Yeah, that is too funny.
All right, back to Power Grid. Let's get back on topic. I hope you enjoyed the little story time, but
Christian, I think you would like this book that I'm reading. It's How to Hide an Empire. And it's like, I don't know if I told you about this, but it's like the history of the United States from the perspective of like all of our territories.
let's go like chapter by chapter, like different territories.
So I'm on like the first like half of the book, and it's more about like how we kind of took over all the Indians' land, and we're like, here's a territory, go live there. And then we're like, just kidding, we want to build a railroad, so this is our territory now.
Dude, I think that was kind of a genius system. They just like did whatever they wanted. It's like the government today when they take your land for eminent domain.
The guy is a professor at Northwestern.
Who?
The author of that book.
Oh, cool.
Go to his office.
By the way, I would like to say I was kidding. I do not. What's the word? I do not support the United States government's actions against Indians or Native Americans.
Dude, the funniest thing is like even like the founding fathers like said it. We were like yeah, we're like fuck Britain. They're like ruling us, like giving us no power, and then they're all like, we're kind of gonna do this with like the West, but like we're not gonna tell anyone about it. It's fascinating. But they were like writing like in their papers like, yeah, it kind of feels wrong because Britain did this to us, but we're gonna do it to them anyway.
So like, if you were to go back in time and like slap the founding fathers with your cock, what would you tell them to do?
Honestly, I would have said let someone else have the West of the United States. We don't really need that. We get up to the Mississippi. That's all we need. That's who cares about the West? California's not even a real place. Texas is a failing power grid. What is Oregon? Montana? All irrelevant.
Dude, see, I would agree with you, but I'm going to use your own shit against you.
Oh no.
Fuck.
You wouldn't be able to see all the beautiful state parks or national parks.
That's fair. That is very fair.
But wait, wouldn't everything sort of be like a national park in a way?
Dude, somebody else would have taken it over. Dude, you know what? I would go back in time, tell them they don't need anything west of the Mississippi, and then I would take them west of the Mississippi.
That's pretty much how it went down.
No, but I want to run it. Like it's my country. Like they can have the east side. I have the west side.
You have the worst side.
It's fine. I'll make it the best side.
East Coast, Beast Coast.
All right, what are we talking about today?
I mean, I don't even know, but Power Grid, dude, we should do book club episodes. Be real.
I'm so down.
Be real gay.
I love reading, dude. I'm such a nerd.
Yo, Eric, I actually have a book that you might like. I don't know the name of it exactly yet. No, because here's what I did. My roommate watched a documentary on Netflix that I actually do highly recommend to both of you. It's called Icarus.
Oh yeah.
It's about the Russian doping stuff from the Olympics.
Oh.
And my roommate liked the documentary a lot, so he had his mom get the book that it's based on, or like a book that's on the same topic. So I'm going to read it after him. But the documentary was amazing. It starts off as one thing, turns into a whole nother thing that you weren't expecting it to be. It's such a good documentary.
Yeah, dude. The fucking Russians were juiced to the gills.
Yeah.
Huh. Who is this?
Do you guys think they should allow steroids in professional sports?
Yeah.
I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose.
I feel like so many of them are using it anyway that.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to say. Everybody cheats anyway, so you might as well just make it legal.
Like the thing is, if you're non-steroids and like half the league is when it's illegal, you're like you might die.
Dude, I want you to see this guy. So
plus, like, while they may be performance enhancing, isn't that the point, to be the best, like have the best performance you can possibly get?
Jesus Christ. Looks like Luke at the gym.
So, oh shit.
Dude, that's before his penis shrank.
Hold on, how do I move this?
Hey
off?
man, steroids doesn't make your dick shrink, just makes your balls shrink.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why the fuck is it beeping on me? Yeah, look at that.
How long ago was this?
Alexander.
Since 1968, baby.
Born 67.
Alexander the Great. Not surprising.
I remember
Holy
reading-
shit!
I remember reading about how steroids were like discovered, and like the American like Olympic weightlifting coach was talking to like the Russian coach, and he said to him as a joke, he's like, "Oh, what are you giving these guys?" He's like, "Oh, testosterone," and he was like, "It was crazy."
Bro,
Dude, imagine the first person that like found testosterone and injected themselves with it.
Yeah, it
What
was,
they
like,
must have
Russian
been
weightlifter,
feeling.
dude.
I wish that could have been me. I would have loved to have seen my reaction, like discovering this for the first time and trying to explain it to someone else.
It's like the same thing with any drug.
bro, people forget that weed is mentioned in the Bible.
Is it really?
The burning bush.
Weed is also legal in New Jersey. Did we talk about that?
No, I mean we could do that on the next episode.
Okay.
Bro, so it is March, and technically it would be March Madness, right?
March Madness, baby. I can't wait to bet on the one sports thing I bet on.
So we should do something with the podcast for March Madness, but I just don't know what it could be.
Do a
I'm down.
bracket.
Do like that's what I'm saying. Like do like a bracket of like political figures and just have them just have people on our story just answer it.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Dude,
I mean,
I'll
I don't know.
Dude, you know what we should do?
What?
We should do a like pool where you get to pick what politician you think is going to get canceled next.
If we do a bracket, it can't be like best policies because that's not on brand. It has to be who would win in a fight.
Okay. AOC is gonna do real good against Vladimir Lenin.
As Connor Sikora said at his track meet, I might not be able to beat any of these kids in a race, but I can beat the shit out of any kid here.
Should we do like historical political figures or should we do like just current people? I mean, we could do both, honestly.
Yeah, we should combine them. One side is current, one side is former.
Oh shit. Do
You're a genius.
you do like wait, so the current wouldn't meet the current wouldn't meet the past until like the end?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be like one
Get the
champion from each
best of
side.
both worlds.
Interesting. Bro, I'm just like already scared because like if we go like if we go the past route and we do like Hitler and like people start
I nominate Adolf Hitler.
people start like voting for him. One, that's just gonna make me look pretty bad, but two, you're gonna have imagine it's at the end and it's like Hitler versus Donald
Trump.
Dude, imagine thinking it's a good idea to attack Russia while you're at war with the West.
Oh man. Bro,
What
it
an
seems that
idiot.
all wars begin and end in Russia. Bro, for our book club, we should read Mein Kampf.
Unironically, I've heard that's a great book to read.
No, I heard that too. And the Little Red Book, or whatever it's called. Mao's Red Book. I heard that one's a pretty good one.
I've
too.
never even heard of that.
Yeah, Mao. So Mao Zedong used to carry
He's the
around.
Chinese guy, right?
Yeah, he used to. He was the one who transitioned China from feudalist to communism. So
Daddy Mao.
he always used to carry this book around. It was a little tiny book.
Interesting. I'd be down to read that.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do. I mean, Mein Kampf is a fucking long ass book. It is 700 something pages.
Oh boy.
It's a toughie. But also, I feel like if you buy that at any sort of thing, like if you buy it on Amazon, if you buy it on like Barnes and Noble or something, I just feel like you immediately get flagged.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm already flagged, so it's nothing new. They don't really do anything.
Eric, did you know that Hitler actually staged a coup that failed?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's actually when he wrote the book. He wrote it
Was
when
he like in prison? I feel like everyone writes their books in prison.
Yeah. So if you want to look it up, it's the Beer Hall Putsch. It was a failed coup d'etat by the Nazi Party. It happened in 1923. Hitler was obviously the leader of that. It brought him to attention of the German nation first, because basically the Nazi Party was like very disgruntled with how Germany was letting themselves get kind of fucked. But yeah, so Hitler was actually wounded during this coup, and then eventually he was arrested and charged with treason, and then
dude, I wonder what the art school director was thinking like 30 years later when he realized who that kid was.
The person that probably put him in jail probably got fucking smacked.
This says that he used the trial as an opportunity to spread his ideas, and it was like extensively covered in like the news and shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Dude,
cool.
Can someone tell me why nurses are always so hot? I'm sorry, I'm on Bumble right now.
Bro, we just went to like two things. Eric was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And like whenever you say something positive about Hitler, people get up their ass. And then Sean goes,
"Damn,
okay."
That wasn't positive about Hitler. That was just.
You're like, that's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. He probably everything after that wasn't cool, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I call him as I see it.
Yeah. Do you know that so after that failed, he decided, yeah, okay. So once released, Hitler redirected his focus towards obtaining power through legal means rather than by revolution or force, and accordingly changed his tactics. Pretty interesting in the sense that, like, you know.
I'm interested in World War II stuff because I feel like they kind of like wash it down for what I learned in school.
Oh,
so much I don't know.
For sure.
I love World War II history. It's my favorite war.
World War I is my guilty pleasure. There's a lot that, like, if you look from like World War I, you can see how like the world changed a lot. Like if you think about it, I'm just gonna say very briefly. So like World War I, that happens, right? During it, the Armenian genocide happens. After it, Germany's like in a broken state to where like they are, you know, that's what set the stage for World War II and for Hitler to take power. 3, that is when the Red Army defeated the White Army in Russia and then established the USSR. So like all that happened from 1915 to 1920.
It's like the butterfly effect. Like something so long ago has long-lasting impacts on today.
Mm-hmm. So like you could definitely learn a lot, and like if you want to trace back like why we always like hunt for oil and stuff, you could go back to that war.
A butterfly flaps its wings and a baby is born halfway across the world.
You know what's pretty funny is that one of Germany's motivations for starting that war was to create a economic union in Europe.
Well, they got their union.
Yeah, exactly. Years later. And a bunch of war debt later, but all right. This episode was Power Grid, story time, history.
Power Grid story time.
Yeah, Power Grid story time, bracket, history. We never stay on task, but you know what? you know that's what you're getting with us. So
Dude, but you know what? We have fun doing it.
exactly. All right, everybody. We will see you next Wednesday. Boys, have a lovely week. And I'll
Bye.
talk to you guys later. See ya.
It's